Illini West School in Carthage, Illinois, is in the process of implementing a strategic plan to improve education and teach students life readiness skills.
And News 5 WGEM's Dylan Smith talked with the principal and a teacher about what this means for students. Dylan.
McKenzie, teaching life readiness skills was one of the main responses the district got from a survey they released to parents and students in the fall. Now, with that data in hand, the district is now working to put a plan into action. The job of a school is first and foremost education, but Illini West is looking to expand past that by preparing students for life after graduation.
If they get those skills, then no matter what they do, they can be successful, and that's what we're trying to do, is set them up for success.
Principal Jim Short is part of the school's improvement team. It's skills like cooperation and perseverance that Short says the new Leader in Me curriculum will help develop.
We're not going to push one track or another. Whatever they want to do, we're going to support them for it, but there's still a core value, there's still a core group of characteristics that we want our students to have regardless of what they decide to go into.
And while the curriculum isn't yet in place, teachers like Peyton Porter are doing their part in teaching those skills. Porter says some values are taught in school that students might not learn elsewhere.
They're not getting that social interaction, first of all, which I think is the most important with school, not just the subject material, but being able to talk to one another. They learn discipline, how to get things done on time.
There's a lot of skills that I think, particularly employers, we're hearing from that they want our students to be able to do. They include things as small as email etiquette.
Superintendent Jay Harnack says the curriculum would also focus on financial literacy and other things potential employers look for. Harnack believes teaching life readiness could also help decrease absentee rates and motivate students to go the extra mile. And Harnack says the Leader in Me curriculum would likely be taught once per week starting next school year. The district is looking to have the strategic plan in place by then as well. Dylan Smith, WGEM News.
Okay, thank you so much, Dylan. And Harnack also says the plan also includes ways to reestablish social emotional skills that might have been skewed during the pandemic. And he says the school board will vote later this month on a final draft of that plan.